Part of the way to make something see its way through over 20 plus years is to constantly be changing. Okay, it's Thursday, May 5th. If you feel like it tonight, go have a margarita. I love a skinny, spicy one. This is episode 214 of the Token CEO podcast. I'm Erika Nardini. I'm the CEO of Barstool Sports. You can subscribe to this episode on YouTube. That is what we ask you to do. So if you actually like this show and you feel like listening or watching or getting snippets, the best way to do so is on YouTube. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also get all sorts of merch. We have an awesome t-shirt, which is super high quality. I know it's expensive, but the quality is incredible. It's awesome. It's in the store. We also have our business casual crew neck. We have Mother's Day gear under Work Like a Mom. So if you go to the Barstool Sports store, you can find anything and everything from Work Like a Girl and Token that you can wear. We've got an awesome episode today. So we've got three things going on. We've got what's going on here at Barstool and in my world. We've got Joanne Bradford, who has been my boss. She was my boss for 12 plus years. One of my best friends, my mentor. I love Joanne. We also have Q&A. We have an interview with Monica Aldama. She is the 15-time championship coach from the Navarro College Cheerleading team. And then if we have time, we're doing Circling Back. All right, so if you're getting coached, you probably need an energy drink. I've got a new flavor here. We've got Peach Vibe, which is perfectly fitting for the temperature. Celsius has clinically proven ingredients. It's chock full of vitamins. It's an awesome energy drink. It's good for you. It makes you feel energetic. It gives you a little bubble, a little boost, helps you get ready for more feedback from your boss, from your manager, from your coach, from your teammate, you name it. Celsius also has Celsius Heat, where you can drink Celsius with caffeine. Who doesn't love that? They have Celsius BCAA plus energy. I don't even know what that means, but apparently if you're working out, you can work out extra hard. Or you can do Celsius on the go. I love these. They're little packets. You can toss them in some water if you hate water. Everyone knows I hate water. You can toss it in your water. And it tastes great and gives you a boost of energy. Go to Celsius.com to find a store near you, or you can order online at Amazon, Walmart, or Target. Celsius Live Fit. The theme I was thinking about for today's episode was coaching. I like to get coached. I always loved my coaches, even the bad coaches I loved. I felt like it's such a gift. I still feel like it's such a gift to be given feedback and to be pushed. I think all any of us should want in life is to be a lifelong learner, which sounds so cheesy and so stupid. And like my parents would be so proud of me for saying that, but like, it's true. Like the more you can learn, the more you can do, the more you can experience, the more you learn about yourself, the smarter you'll be, the more whole you'll be, the more fulfilled you'll be. Not everything will be great. Not everything will be fun, but you'll learn more and you'll be more evolved as a person. And I just feel like we only have so much time on the planet, and why not use that time to learn? I had really sadly a good friend of mine, a legend in the ad business, died this past week. So Saturday morning, I got a text from a friend of mine who I worked in the ad business with like 100 years ago. And I hadn't heard from her in years. And she texted me and another guy and was like, hey, Sean Finnegan died. And long story short, Sean Finnegan was, I would argue, the most liked, most connected, most personable digital media, digital advertising leader in the business, period. What I loved about Sean was that he was a constant party and that he was always connecting people, and he loved his family. He loved the ad business. He worked for OMD. He loved OMD. He loved Omnicom, and he loved the business that he worked in. And I remember in the days when we used to all run around, it was kind of the beginning of digital media. There was something called iMedia. We used to go to iMedia conferences. And Sean always brought like 4 textbooks with him. And it was so odd. And I would always be like, why are you bringing textbooks? Like, what are the textbooks for? And he was like, oh, I want to learn how to be a CEO. I want to learn more about the media business. I want to learn more about traditional. And I always really admired that about him, because I felt like he was the kind of guy who could be out all night at the bar, connect a lot of people, be incredibly social, but then was also really driven to learn and to improve himself in his career. So huge shout out to Sean Finnegan and to anyone in the ad business who loved Sean Finnegan or learned from Sean Finnegan or partied with Sean Finnegan or, got to work for Sean Finnegan. I think that he was in his own way a lifelong connector and a lifelong learner. But kind of flashing back to the learning of it all, we're in the middle of this massive transformation, I would say, at Barstool. Like, we're growing up a little bit. We have Penn on the horizon. We're trying to get our shit together in anticipation of that. We're getting older. We're bringing new talent. We're exploring new places. We're maturing as a company. And I think it's so exciting. Like, I love that. I think a lot of people can look at a transformation like that and be like, ooh, that sucks. But I actually think like this was the dream. When Dave started this thing in 2004, he didn't know where it would go. We turned it into something magnificent and huge. And now we're going to see that through. And part of the way to make something see its way through over 20 plus years is to constantly be changing. And when you're constantly changing, you're constantly learning. And I think the safest way to learn and to grow is to be coached through it. It pushes you, it gives you feedback, it gives you someone to impress, it gives you someone to work for, it gives you motivation that maybe you just didn't have yourself. But one of the things that I'm finding troubling in the process is I'm running into a lot of people who just don't want to learn, who think they've learned it all. Like, they've got it. We're good. Nothing should change. We should do things the way we always did them. Or, I don't want to work for someone new. I know more than that person. And it's like, yeah, but do you? Like, I think anyone who thinks they know it all before the age of like 80 something is like fucked in the head. Like, that's just impossible. But I think it kind of gets back to the coaching thing in being coached, having a mentor, growing a career. It's a humbling experience, and you have to give yourself to that experience. You have to actually want to learn. And I think the people who don't want to learn very often are people who are toxic. Like, I went for a run this morning and I was thinking about, what is it that makes a toxic person? I think a toxic person doesn't want feedback. I think a toxic person is arrogant. I think a toxic person is not humbled to take the best from other people. And then I was like, practically speaking, what does it mean? I'm like, I think it means you spend 20%, if you looked at 20% of your Slacks, your texts, your conversations, or your phone calls, and if 20% plus is spent bitching about someone, something, somehow, some situation at work, you're probably toxic. And you're definitely not learning, and you're probably not growing because you don't think you have to grow. And I just hate that. I just think that's a waste. I think we're only here for this like short time, and why not make the most of it? Why not feel great? Why not be positive? Why not get pushed? Why not be like, hey, this situation sucks, but I'm learning a lot from it. I'm growing from it. So I just have been thinking about that a lot. And then the Finnegan thing happening kind of like put a pin in it of like, God, life is so short. And why wouldn't anyone try to suck up as much inspiration, knowledge, expertise, and ability as humanly possible? So I've been thinking a lot about that. We had our sales conference this week. Hank presented, which was amazing. Like, Hank wore a button-up shirt, and Hank was like, Jesus, you can tell that I'm wearing a t-shirt for 10 years because I put on a shirt with buttons on it and everybody's freaking out. But I thought a couple of things about it. One is I love how everyone in this company wants to learn and wants to try things. By and large, I think people are really energized. They want to be part of something. They believe in the brand and they want to see it forward. I think the second thing is I got into the sales conference and the marketing people sat with the marketing people. The ad ops people sat with the ad ops people. New York Region A sat together. New York Region B sat together. The Midwest team, God bless them, didn't actually sit together. The mid-market team did sit together. And what it made me realize is like, God, we all need to be reminded to like change your seat. Don't just sit next to the people who you work with every day or who you know the best or who you're most comfortable with. Like, mix it up. Go learn from, Midwest A guy should go sit next to mid-market D guy. share notes, compare, learn things, contribute to one another, or just honestly get to fucking know somebody. So I thought that was interesting just from a point of habit. And I think a lot of what coaching does is gets you out of your habits. And I think that that's, when you think about Joanne Bradford, who joins us today, I worked for Joanne. I worked with Joanne when I was on the ad agency side. I worked for Joanne at Microsoft. I worked for Joanne at Yahoo. I worked for Joanne at my first startup. I worked for Joanne at Demand Media. Like, I spent a lot of time with Joanne. Joanne was tough, and she pushed me, and she was hard on me, and she loved me. And I felt like all the pushing and all the feedback and the criticism and the like, ooh, you shouldn't have done that. You should do it this way. Like, it smarted, it hurt, like, to hear it. But I knew that her giving me that feedback was a gift. And I think the same is true when we go to the interview with Monica and how Monica coaches college cheerleading team. Like, feedback and pushing and coaching is love. And you have to decide if you want to receive it or not. And I know this might be a touchy-feely episode, but I really think it's all a matter of perspective. So like, one of the things we did at the sales conference was getting ready for the sales conference. I was like, all right, what's the gift to the salespeople? Like, you got to give the salespeople a gift. We want the salespeople all fired up. We want them like running out the door to call their customer about what we're about to show them. And it was like, oh, it's like a beach bag and a towel and merch, and didn't cost a lot of money. And I was really appreciative of the thoughtfulness around the budget. But I also was like, so our message to our salespeople is go have a beach day? Fuck that. I want our salespeople pounding the pavement. So I was like, here's what we're going to do. So I had Daniela, maker of magic, go find 72 sneakers, 72 individual sneakers. And I put a dirty old sneaker at everybody's seat. And so when I got there, train was late. I busted in, had to go right into it. Makeup looked absolutely terrible. Did it in a cab. I was like, hey, you're probably wondering why you have a dirty sneaker. They had a dirty sneaker and a bottle of champagne at everybody's seat. The bottle of champagne is because in May of 2022, we have done more revenue than we did in all of 2021, which is fucking extraordinary. I'm so proud of our team for doing that. The dirty sneaker is a couple things. One is everyone's unique. Everyone walks in their own shoes. They come from their own place. They have their own perspective. They have their experiences. They have their troubles outside of work. They have their successes in work. And it's good to be reminded that everybody has a different pair of shoes. The second thing is you can look at a sneaker and be like, this is a dirty piece of shit sneaker. This is disgusting. There's probably a foot fungus in there. This is gross. Or you can look at it as a vehicle that's going to get you someplace else. And I think that life and work is how you perceive it, and feedback is how you perceive it. But I think the message it holds true for anything, whether you're in life, whether you're in college playing sports, whether you're at work, is the perspective you have matters. 2, humbling yourself to feedback is the best way to grow. 3, if somebody's on you and giving you feedback, that's a gift. You may not want to hear it. You may not like it. You may not always agree with it, and it's totally appropriate to push back. But someone investing in you is a shortcut to becoming a bigger, better, more whole, more evolved, more knowledgeable person than you are now. Okay, so we have Joanne Bradford joining us. I don't even know where to begin on Joanne. I love Joanne. When I look back at the end of my life at the people who had a crazy, indelible impact on me, Joanne is going to be at the very, very top. Dave Portnoy will be there. People I love will be there. But Joanne, I would not be where I am today without Joanne, and without Joanne spending, 13 plus years pushing me. So she's had a ton of experience. She is a lifelong learner. And the thing I love about Joanne is Joanne always talks about how she was a C student. And that's actually, I think, a really good point, is you can be a C student and be a great learner. And Joanne joins, we talk about what we've done together, what we've learned together, and you'll get to see and feel Joanne for yourself. Okay, so tell your story. So interesting. So tell your story. Who are you? Who is Joanne Bradford?
I'm Joanne Bradford. I'm Erika's friend. I've known her forever. Mm-hmm. I'm a tech executive.
Oh, okay.
A tech executive.
Yep, I love it.
I'm a mom.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm just a world traveler.
Describe your career.
I sold ads for a very long time at Business Week. I was the chief revenue officer at Microsoft.
Yep, that was a big deal.
Yahoo.
Yep.
Demand Media.
Yep.
We worked together at all those places. Yep. And then I ran partnerships at Pinterest.
Forgot about that.
I was the chief operating officer and chief marketing officer at SoFi for 4 years. And then I was the president of Honey for a little while, and we sold it to PayPal. And now I work at a company called Bolt, which is one-click checkout.
Okay, so what do you feel like, what made you so successful, do you think? Like, what is it about you? Like, I remember back in the day, Joanne was a C student at San Diego State. She liked to remind us of that. And you were going to write, the other thing that was fascinating about Joanne in the early days was whenever she went on vacation, she was so hyperactive that she would always be creating something on vacation. And it was usually like a business plan or a book or something. So like one year you went on vacation and then you wrote a plan for girls or something. It was like a women's empowerment thing. And then the next year you were like, you were gonna write a book about, like, there was a good name for the book. I probably shouldn't say it. But.
Yeah. So one time we went for 2 days to Miami, and we called it the Token Summit.
Yep.
And we like faked like we were having a big summit, but we really weren't. And I was like, Erika, you need to write values for Barstool.
So it took me like 5 years.
I know. And then she's like, I'm like, here's the deck.
I get shit on those all the time.
I know. And then it's like, hey, we wrote like a career curriculum, right? So I don't know. I just like to I like to put my energy into something.
I agree. You like to do things.
I like to do things.
But what do you think? I think the things that make you so successful are you're just exceptionally driven. You're very curious. Like, you're relentlessly curious. I think that's such a rare quality. And 2, or 3, you're unafraid. Like, you will go up to Joey in the hall and be like, you should do it, not just unafraid, but like, you should do this right now. Like, shameless about doing.
Yeah, no, I just like to do things. I mean, I think that there's a point in life where it's like, you just have to do things. Like, Barstool is built on that, where it's just like, just do it. You know, there's no going back.
Yeah.
There's no turning around. There's no like, okay, let's put the, genie back in the bottle.
Yeah.
Like, just keep going.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I just like to keep doing things. I think like we're very, one of the things I like about us is like, we're very productive. Like, we get a lot of stuff done.
Yep.
Like, through whatever means possible.
Yep.
And so I just like to do that.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, like, because you want to look back and say, I did this. You know, I don't like to be like idle.
I modeled so much of my career after of what I saw from you in those early years. Like, she was so efficient. You were so efficient where you traveled from San Francisco to Seattle every week. So you were like, you had such a system down. Like, and I mimicked everything from Joanne. I mimicked everything. The way you folded your stuff. The way you folded all the the folding.
Can we just do this? So when I was coming here today, I thought, okay, top 10 things that we learned together. Okay. Number 1. You never check your luggage.
Ever.
Okay.
Cannot check a bag.
Okay, and you have to learn how to pack.
Yep.
We used folding cubes. Yep. Folding cubes were amazing. Number 2 is you have to have comfortable shoes.
Have to have comfortable shoes, and you have to be prepared for a lot of walking.
A lot of walking. There's always a lot of walking.
Always a lot of walking.
Okay. The next one is that you never get shit-faced at a work event.
Yep, 100%. You got to leave by like 11:30. Yep.
Like, I mean, it's just just because no good.
No, everyone who gets shit-faced at a work event, I've done it, hand up, you regret it. You just regret it immensely. There's nothing good that comes from it, and everybody's going to be talking about you.
Yeah, no, it's no good. I also am big into the, like, you always have to figure out like how your company makes money. Most people have no idea how their company makes money. So I think you got very good at that. And I think that's why you're a CEO. I think most people are like, oh, it's all going well. But I'm like, no, is your company making money? Is it doing well?
How do they make money?
How do they make money? So you should be able to, like,
in a sentence
say, you sell advertising, merchandising, and subscriptions.
Yep.
That's how you make money at Barstool.
Mm-hmm.
This is going well. This is going well. This isn't going well.
Yep.
Okay, I work in this department. I'm
this
good.
This is how I ladder up. Yeah, my job's stable. I also, another big thing from you was you always have to have a notebook and a pen.
Okay, so we went on this most famous sales call ever.
Epic. Yep.
I got him a big meeting. We went to the big meeting. He had a briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a briefcase, and we got into the meeting, and I was like, what's in your briefcase? And there was nothing in his briefcase. I was like, why are you carrying it? And we came out of the meeting.
Hold. Yeah. So there was a lot of information shared. We were like an upstart, so we had to punch above our weight, and we were trying to be really convincing about what we were doing. And the clients had a lot of questions, comments, feedback, follow-up items. And the guy had to borrow a pen and was writing the notes on business cards.
Yes.
Like
I gave him a pen, and I was like, take some notes. And he had no paper, so he was using his business cards.
It was a disaster.
And we came downstairs, and it was actually at Digitas that you used to work at. And we came downstairs.
There's a bunch of scaffolding.
And I said, please.
And Joanne just like screamed at him under the scaffolding. But the thing about it, though, is that the training of it was so good. Like I even remember it today. I got on a call yesterday with a salesperson, and the meeting started and the salesperson wasn't ready to go. Like, you trained us to, like, the meeting starts, the presentation is up, the technology works, you have your notebook and your pen out. Yep. You know, you've done your, like, it was funny last night thinking about today. I was like, oh, awesome, Joanne's coming. It's so great. And then I was like, fuck, that's why I wrote my notes. I was like, I better get prepared for this thing. But you have to be prepared, and you have to be ready at the moment, because that, like, 2 minutes of you fumbling around with your shit is you lose them.
No, you have to be like, hey, here's what we want to do. The other thing is, like, people never listen to what people's problems are. Mm-hmm. They just want to sell them a solution. And so we used to always say that, like, what are we trying to solve here? Yep. So that was always fun.
Yep.
I think, like, the other rule is there's no idea too crazy. Mm-hmm. And I think you have proven that here. Mm-hmm. Like, let's be clear. There's no idea is too crazy. Like, and most people are afraid of, like, really putting an idea out there. It's like one of the things we did was, like, Live Earth, which was the largest live streamed concert around the world, right? And it was super fun. We did it in 2007. How's that for dating ourselves?
I know.
7/7/07.
Yes, it was so cool, though.
It was so cool. But we were like, let's live stream a 24-hour concert. And we went, and it was all about, like, green.
Yeah, it was for the earth.
It was for the earth. And everybody was like, it's so dumb.
No.
And now it seems smart. No,
yeah.
Everybody complained about it. They're like, Joanne, that's so dumb. Yeah. And I was like, and we sold all the ads.
Totally. Yeah. You needed things to sell, so you invented
you made
good
it
things
up, crazy stuff.
100%.
Crazy stuff.
I think you also do, another good rule for us is, like, we always take a moment.
Like, you always have to
enjoy
have
the moment. Like, we're in the moment, embrace the moment. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are two things in a career is, like, taking risks. So I worked at Business Week for 12 years, and I worked at Microsoft for 7 years. Yep. And people are always like, oh, you have a lot of jobs. I like to work. Like, I get a lot of fulfillment from it. And I like to be on the cutting edge of things. Like, you're on the cutting edge.
Yeah, you want to learn all the time.
Content. You know, I don't want to go work at a boring corporation. Yeah. I think some people love a boring corporation. Yeah. They want to go sit in their cube and be Dilbert. I am not into that.
Not for you. All right. So one of the things I love about Joanne Bradford is the woman is a maniac about her money. She's about to tell you that she checks her balances every single day. So when somebody says to me, hey, what's one thing you do every day? Do you know what comes to my mind? I'm like, I say I love you. Joanne's like, I check my money. So anyways, I've got a product for you. It's called Truebill. It lets you check all of your finances in one place. It's awesome, super easy to use. You can see where you are on all your credit cards, your savings accounts, your checking accounts, you name it. It also helps you create a monthly budget and manage your expenses. It allows you to track and evaluate your savings goals. And then best yet, you get push notifications when you're about to go over your budget. On average, people save up to $720 a year using Truebill. Start canceling the things you don't need to spend, start tracking your money, start keeping an eye to your finances at truebill.com/token. That's truebill.com/token, truebill.com/token.
I think that the other thing on the list that you and I have not talked about yet is I really think that you have to always keep track and control of your money. People don't understand like the power of compounding money, the power, and it's a very hard conversation. And like, you're one of my like best friends in the world. And it was still like, I always had to push you. I was like, what are you doing with your money?
Yep.
And she would just be like, you know.
It's true. But I agree with you 100%. I think that women are like absent with their money. I was like this. Like now I check everything every day and I love it. I love
so
paying
exciting.
bills. It's awesome.
So exciting. Like I like to look.
I have my own brokerage account now. I'm just so excited.
No way.
About it.
That's very exciting.
Like several.
Yeah, right. But I think it's super important. Like I look at my credit card bill every day.
Yeah.
Like I just look at the Amex bill. I'm like, okay, here's what's charging. Oh wow, this one's pending. Okay, this is great. Oh, I need to fix that. I need to do that. Like,
or like
I go look
shit,
at my
I'm
Schwab account and I'm like, whoa, this is fun. Or the market's up or down.
Yep.
But I want complete command of it.
Yep.
And I do check it every day because I think like you never know what's going to happen.
It's very empowering, I think.
Yeah.
I learned that very, very late.
I think that like the numbers, you were always good with the numbers. Mm-hmm. Like Erika loves a spreadsheet and to be like, okay, and you were good with the PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Okay, so what's the first thing you do in the morning?
The first thing I do in the morning is I try to get up and exercise.
Okay, you're very good about that.
Yeah.
And what's the exercise?
I don't keep my phone in my room.
Yeah, it's bad. It'll give you cancer.
I keep my phone downstairs.
Yep, same.
So then I have to go get it.
Yeah.
And then I get up. I do Pilates on Zoom with some friends.
Okay. Is that what you sent me?
No, that's
okay.
I went to this thing called The Class the other day where it's like you yell and jump around and it makes you feel better.
Oh,
I don't know.
really?
I thought it was interesting.
Did it make you feel better?
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay.
I was like, all right, it's fun. And then I have a smoothie.
Yeah, you're very particular about your food.
Spinach.
You make it.
Yeah, it has some spinach, banana, blueberries.
Yep.
Some chia seeds.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay, I like that. What's something you do every day without fail?
Look at my money.
Okay, I love that. That's a great answer. What gives you hope right now?
I think that there's a lot of innovation in the world. I think that everything can be reinvented in a very short period of time. Mm-hmm. Like, look how long it took these media companies to be possible, or artists previously, and now you're like, wait, technology made it all so quick. Yeah. And so it shortens the lifespan of everything, but it makes the ability to sprout
acceleration of it so fast,
which is super cool. Like you had Gary Vee on here, and he's all into like the NFT, like
NFT,
you know, which I think is amazing, right? Like there's a guy that has reinvented himself over
and
over.
His energy is so
crazy. Like he makes us look like we're sleeping,
100%,
like we're on a Valium or something.
100%.
Yeah.
What's a business that you're interested in right now? So tell people about Bolt.
Okay, Bolt is one-click checkout, so it's Shop Pay, but for all other merchants.
Okay.
So we're building.
So you're a B2B business.
We're a B2B business that consumers use. So I think we'll be like the next Visa. Okay. The next, sort of PayPal, the next Shop Pay.
Okay.
We've raised a lot of money. We've raised like $1 billion. We've got like 700 employees. We just bought a crypto company called Wire, which is like the Stripe of crypto. Okay. Which is super fun. And we have a really good time. We're like smart group of people trying to change the checkout landscape because it's still a terrible problem.
It's the worst.
It's the worst problem.
You never know what you're going to get as options in your checkout, and then when you're like, "Fuck me, I've got to put in all my fields," and then
even as a business, like you can't like. If you wanted to go sell on Instagram, you kind of can't do it. Yeah. You YouTube or other places. Like you should be capturing commerce everywhere you go, and you're not. You're like, go to the website and buy it here. It's terrible.
Leakage in the funnel is
so like headless commerce. So we're super into that piece of it. And then I have a real estate startup, that we're trying to figure out. People that buy a house have to remodel it. Yep. So a couple of people that I worked with at SoFi, we started this company, and we've sold $15 million worth of houses last month.
Yeah, congratulations!
Yeah, it's fun. So if you're buying a house in Northern California and need it remodeled, Casa. But yeah, it's fun.
That's the name.
Yeah.
How'd you get that trademark?
Casa.
Yeah.
It was good.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's just it's all
I love
fun.
that. How do you create a culture that's virtual?
Okay, so
Like, how are you guys doing it?
the virtual culture is all about like your accountability as an individual.
Okay.
And like, can you actually just get your work done?
Okay.
And we are like writing versus talking, like, share documents with everybody, and then just go do your work, right? So this is a very collaborative environment. This is more like deliver on what you say you're going to do, because it's a little more technical. It's a little bit more B2B in its solution. So there's not a lot of emotion in what we do. There's like technical ability to deliver.
Okay.
And so being remote is actually helpful for like engineers.
People can focus.
And they can focus and they can get stuff done. So I like it. I didn't think I would like a remote first culture, but it's much more strategic and thinking than it is like.
So it's not just busy work.
It's not. There's no busy work. Like we try to eliminate the busy work, which is takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah, I believe it. What are you hopeful for?
I'm just hopeful for like all the cool things that people are building. And I think like people responding to people in need really gives you a lot of hope.
Yeah.
Right. Like Barstool did a lot of that. Like you guys responded so much to people in need.
Yeah.
Like I think that's one of the things that you don't get credit for is how much you sort of respond when people have a need.
Like enthusiastically. Like this is quite an enthusiastic company.
You know what I mean? It doesn't like when people like not everything in the Barstool world is for me, but I do like that vibe that you guys are like, okay, here we're gonna help those people. Yeah. We're gonna try to help those people. So that's what I'm hopeful for.
What would you say to like the 20-something version of yourself?
I think that the main thing that you have to do is like really sort of speak up and know what you want to try and be able to take risk. I think you have to be very well prepared. I think that a lot of people today speak up and are not well prepared for the consequences of what they do, right? Like if you want responsibility and you get it, then you have to do it.
Yeah.
If you do it, if you speak up and you don't get the responsibility, then what are you going to do?
Then what are you doing?
Then what? Got it. So I just think, you have to be able to do that. And there's a lot of different ways to do it, but there's always consequence.
Yeah.
Like there's always consequence, and people don't just realize that in life. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this. What do I think is going to happen?
Yeah. So. And what am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
I like you changed my life. Like you really changed my life.
I appreciate it. You changed my life too.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about Felix Gray glasses. I spend all day staring at a screen, and then I take the train home and I stare at my screen a little bit longer, and then I go home and then I get into bed and I stare at my screen again. It's like at the end of it all, my eyes are super tired. They feel like, how there's those cartoon characters? We should put this in there where their eyes are like bulging out of their head and they've got the veins and they're like, bang, bang, bang. That's what I feel like at the end of the day. The times I don't feel like that is when I'm wearing my Felix Gray glasses. So what's awesome about Felix Gray is that 5 years ago, they set out to make glasses that will help protect your eyes from blue light. Why is this important? It reduces eye strain, and it also helps your health overall by making it easier to sleep. So if you spend all day looking at this or looking at this, try a pair of Felix Gray glasses. It will help reduce strain on your eyes, and it will help you feel better overall. Non-prescription and prescription glasses are available. You can check them out at felixgrayglasses.com/token. That's felixgrayglasses.com/token. You get free shipping, you get free return, and free exchanges. That's felixgrayglasses.com/token. All right, let's move it to Q&A. Here's the first one. I have an interview soon, and I'm having a really hard time finding a way to say that I'm looking for a job that gives me work-life balance without seeming negative. Current situation. The expectation for success is 11 to 12-hour days, sometimes weekends. I'm at a VP level now in finance, and I'm very motivated to continue to excel in my career, but I'm also getting married and looking to start a family. Is it possible to have both? Is it possible to express all of this in an interview and still show that I'm here to work hard? Super interesting. Okay, so first of all, it's so fucked up that like wanting work-life balance is a negative thing that you're kind of like fearful and ashamed of wanting. So I think The first thing is you should live your life. Congratulations on getting married and wanting to start a family and pursuing all the things that interest you outside of work, and also wanting to make the most of your work and your work life. So I think all of those things are awesome. The way I would ask the question in the interview is I would ask a lot about culture. I would ask how that manager or how the person in charge thinks about balancing life and work. I think it's totally okay to ask that question. I would not make it the total focus of your interview, but I think you can kind of sidewind your way into saying, hey, what's it like to work here? What, is this a stay late and work all night type of place? Or is this a get in early? Or is this a 9 to 5 type of job? I think you can ask the question just like that without giving any indication of what's best for you. You ultimately just want to find the truth about the job that you're interviewing for. I think the biggest thing is if you work hard, if you learn at work, if you're receptive to feedback, if you contribute in a really great way, you can pretty much call your own shots. So if you get all of your stuff done and a little bit more, or you get all your stuff done and your stuff is really great, why should anybody care that you leave at 5 o'clock? Why should anybody care that you work from home on Wednesdays? Why should anybody care that you want to leave at 3 p.m. to go to your kid's soccer game or whatever your thing may be? You want to go get a facial, who cares? So I think the biggest thing is don't feel bad for wanting balance. Be excited that you want to have a really full life and you want to have a really full work life. I made a lot of mistakes like this. I really, truly worked away my 20s and my 30s, and I'll never get them back. And it makes me sad. Like, I think I missed a lot, and I think I didn't develop the way I should have because I spent so much time on the hamster wheel of work. So I think it's amazing that you already know that you don't want to be on that hamster wheel, but not wanting to be on the hamster wheel doesn't mean you can't have an extraordinary career. All right, second question. I recently became a manager of a small team, 5 women in their mid-20s. I'm a woman as well. Awesome. Good for you. Mm-hmm. I know these girls do not like me. I'm about 5 years older than them, and I'm fully aware that they're checked out in meetings and talk about me behind my back. I'm not a confrontational person, and I don't know how to bring this up. How do I manage a team of people who don't like me? Ooh, this is a good question. So one is they may not like you, but they definitely don't respect you. So you've got to earn their respect. I think you need to probably have a little bit of self-talk on why don't they respect you? That you probably don't have a lot of consequence for this team of people. What I would say is be a high productive coach and manager. Set a vision for where your team is going to go. Set expectations on what your team has to deliver. You can do that in a totally non-confrontational way. You can call a team meeting, get your shit together, get organized, and be like, hey, it's Q3, or hey, it's May. This is what we're going after. This is what this team is about. This is what this team is going to achieve. And this is what my expectation is of everyone on the team. The second thing I would do is I would have a one-on-one with each of these 5 people. And I would say, hey, again, here's the vision, here's the expectation, here's what I'm most excited about for you, and here's some concerns that I have. You can do that for person A, person B, person C, D, and E. What you're going to need to do, though, is someone is not going to make the expectation, and you're going to need to fire them. So you need to get yourself together and woman up that you are going to need to fire one of these 5 people. And when you fire one of the 5 people, the other 4 will get in line. So the other thing I would do is I would make sure that you tell your boss, hey, I think my team's kind of checked out. I think my team isn't motivated. I don't think they're bought into the vision. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what my expectation is. Do those things map with what your boss's expectation and vision is? And then you need to say, if so-and-so or such and such doesn't make the cut, I'm going to want to take action. And you have to be sure that your boss or your HR person has your back on that. because you can't go set these things up and then not deliver against them. So I think the biggest thing is you want to earn people's respect. So, obviously make sure you're setting a great example. 2, make sure you're firm and clear about your expectations. And then 3, you really just need to create consequence. The last thing I would say is that if 1 of the 5 or 2 of the 5 or 3 of the 5 step up, you've also got to publicly reward them. So if you publicly reward great activity and behavior, and you publicly criticize or take action on bad or poor behavior, you'll have better results in your team and you'll earn more respect. You got to be fair, you got to be consistent, you got to walk the line yourself, but you can do it. What do you do when your boss asks you to name your price for a salary? Do you give them a number and the reasons why you believe that number makes sense with a full breakdown? Or do you give a number that's what you need to live and save and don't offer any explanation? Ooh, I hate this. It's intimidating to have to be like, this is how much I think I should make, because 1, you're probably selling yourself out and you give a number that's too low versus what you actually want. 2, some part of you is a little bit afraid of like, I'm going to throw some crazy number out there and they're going to fire me, being like, what are you fucking kidding me? So that's the other piece of it. What I would say is get smart and get informed about what people in your role in other companies or similar companies or the industry, get a sense of what those people are getting paid. Also have in your head a number that would make you really happy at work. You have to provide explanation. Nobody's going to be like, I want to make $100 million and then like drop the mic and walk out. So you've got to have explanation. The explanation cannot be about you. The explanation has to be about what you deliver for the company, what you create for your boss, and the overall contribution that you're making. Focus, I think, really on 2 parts of it. Here's what I have done, and here's what I'm going to do. And as a result, I would like to be paid in this range. And when you say the number, make sure that if the person hits the low end of the range, you're going to be happy. The worst thing is to throw a number out there, have somebody meet it, and then be disgruntled because you gave a number that was too low. So get smart about what the industry pays. Get informed and crisp about what you've done and what you're going to do. Write down your points. Have a succinct and clear conversation with your boss. Put a number that you feel great about and see where it goes. So here's the deal. This is like, do you have an everything bag in your bag? Okay, this is my everything bag. I have like a deck of cards, I have packs of gum, I have moisturizers, I've got a blush, I've got perfume when I need it, I've got, energy, I have a tampon, who doesn't need a tampon? But my favorite thing in this bag is my Uncommon James lip balm. Look at how big it is. It's awesome. I have these fat lips that are always dry and have red lines stuck to them. It's amazing. It makes it all go away. So what's cool about Uncommon Beauty is that their goal is to shrink the amount of things you're using on a day-to-day basis, make your skincare routine so much easier and simpler. So I'm obsessed with their lips. I call it lipstick, but it's really a lip balm. I'm obsessed with it. They also have cleansers, moisturizers, eye creams, peptides, you name it. They make it simple. Everything is clean. It feels great when you put it on, and it lasts for a long time. You can see the difference that clean skincare makes if you go to uncommonjames.com/token. That's uncommonjames.com/token, and you use the code token10 at checkout. You can get 10% off your lip balm or anything else you order. So go to uncommonjames.com/token and get 10% off your order if you use code token10. All right, so we have a big get today. We have Monica Aldama. Monica is the head coach of the Navarro Junior College cheer team. You may know her from Netflix. So Monica's just written a book called Full Out: Lessons in Life and Leadership from America's Favorite Coach. She's beautiful, she's smart, she's sharp. She is clearly a woman who knows what she wants, and she's a perfectionist and relentless about getting it. And what she offers us is really tips in terms of how she thinks about coaching, how she thinks about motivating people, how she continues to evolve and change her own game, and the lessons she's learned from coaching that she feels that anyone can apply to life. Also, side note, Monica just won her 15th national championship. So we recorded this before she won her championship in Daytona, Florida. But congratulations to her. Clearly the work she put in and the effort she made played out in the tournament.
Monica, tell us about, you have an interesting job, and what I'm hoping for this audience, which mostly consists of young women and men at some point in their careers learning and thinking about how to be the best at what they do. You are the very best. You are called the Bill Belichick of cheerleading, which is pretty amazing. But describe what you do, how you do it, why you love it. Just give us the 30-second pitch on it.
Ooh, 30 seconds. Okay, I'll
go longer.
I'll try to do 30 seconds. So I am the head cheerleading coach at Navarro College, and so if you haven't seen Cheer on Netflix, you might think, oh, it's just cheerleading. So you should go check it out. But we are a competitive college cheer program. We've won 14 national championships, so we only get one shot at the end of the year to compete. This is my 28th year. I had zero idea that I would ever be coaching cheerleading. I have a business degree, so I thought for sure I'd be in the business world. But here I am. Like I said, it takes hold of you and it won't let you go.
And I love that you did the Netflix documentary because you wanted to legitimize cheerleading, which when you watch the series and you just watch cheerleading in general, like the athleticism is insane. Like, we're not talking about just girls in short skirts, like prancing around with cheers. Like, the athleticism is so powerful, but being on top for 20 some odd years, 14 titles, describe your stamina. How do you do what you do? How have you been able to stay on top for so long?
Well, I think because I am competitive, I always want to be the best at anything that I do, whether it's coaching cheerleading or if I go into a different career, I'm going to put everything that I have into that. And when I started, I was super young. I was only 22 years old and I had never coached before. I had only been a cheerleader. So I had a lot to learn. And I think to be great at anything that you have to, dive in and educate yourself and be willing to continuously learn. It's, cheerleading, it has evolved tremendously in all the 28 years that I've been here. So I didn't just come in and learn a little bit and just, stay complacent. I have to continue to evolve with cheerleading, with my coaching style, with the decisions that I make. And I think, I just came in and I looked at it from a business approach of what was my end goal. How was I going to get this program on top? And I knew that winning a national championship would earn us the respect that, it does in any other sport. And so that was kind of the starting point. And so I really dove in about how I was going to, we weren't that great. So I had to, figure out how to win without having the most talented team at the time. And so that's kind of what I did. I really strategized.
And what is your coaching style? Like, how would you describe it?
I have very high expectations, not just in cheerleading, but with the athletes, the way that they carry themselves, learning just, life skills in general. And so I am a little bit direct, and I think that can be a little bit intimidating. Yeah. So I know that I probably came across as intimidating, and that's, I think, just a personality trait of mine. I do believe in direct communication so that there's no blurred lines and they know exactly what I want to get out of them. But at the same time, I know that the relationship is so important to actually get that out of them. So I really try to balance that and make sure that they feel appreciated, they feel heard and seen. And, that way they're going to want to give their very best to me and put in the work, because it is a grind to come in every single day and put in that work. And so it's just a good balance of high expectations, but a really great relationship, caring relationship,
Yeah. What I like about you from what I see of you is you're just this crazy perfectionist. Like, what I think is really incredible about how you do it is you seem to be you have a precision that you're looking for. Like, your standard is nearly unattainable, but amazingly they attain it. And I think that's the heart that comes in and the nurturing that you have, but your ability to push people beyond what they are capable of is very impressive. And I'd love to know, how do you think about that? Like, how do you approach that?
Well, one thing is, iron sharpens iron, and I think when you are surrounded by some of the best in the industry, you are surprised at how far you can even push yourself. So it's not only just me, it's not only wanting to, make me proud and hit those goals. It's also the people that they're surrounded with that come in every single day and have that grind. And that's one of the best parts about coaching, because there's a lot of not fun parts about coaching.
Yeah.
But one of the great things is when someone gets that new skill, when we hit that routine for the first time, all those moments that create all that dopamine and that wonderful feeling that you get. And you see everybody run and jump on someone if they hit that a new tumbling skill. And I think just seeing each other, how one person does a new skill, then they're like, I think I could probably do that too. So it's not just me getting the best out of them, it's truly the whole system, them pushing each other.
Yeah, everybody helps get the best out of everybody,
Correct.
which I love. I also love that you have, you're no bullshit. I like the directness. I try to be as direct as possible at work, but I also really love that at the beginning you were kind of faking it till you made it. Like when I started at Barstool Sports, there were maybe 15 guys reading your book. You're in the weight room tapping like the shoulder of a strong guy, or you're getting a girl's boyfriend to show up, like just to get warm bodies on the mat. Do you still feel like with all the success that you're still scrapping it that way? Like, do you still have that scrappiness? Do you need to have that type of scrappiness?
Well, I'll always have that scrappiness. I'm always looking for, how I can make us better, whatever I have to do. But I mean, obviously, once you start winning, it gets easier to recruit. You have a name, you become nationally known within our industry. I know the show took us to a whole nother level,
Yeah, completely.
but within the cheerleading industry, we were well known already because of our track record. And so it definitely was easier to recruit. But the problem is we are still a junior college. So the only thing I had to recruit on was competitive cheerleading, where the universities, they have the big game day and the big college experience and stuff. So it's still hard to recruit because it takes a certain type of person, that wants to give up the big game day and just really focus competitive cheerleading day in and day out. And of course, we get some of the best that know that they're going to have a great experience. And honestly, if you come to Navarro College, you can get the best of both worlds. That's one of my recruiting tactics, because you can come to Navarro for a couple of years and then you can transfer to a university and still get that big game day. So it's still a battle to recruit and to get the best of the best. And I always love to take people that I think have potential. So we're still in there grinding, teaching people basics, and we have talent, that's a big range of talent.
Kind of runs the gamut.
Yeah. So we have people that we invest a lot of time in that start off very raw and don't, have the experience that some of the others do, which I love. I love to, get in there and really see someone grow tremendously through the program. So
yeah, you like a diamond in the rough, which is
yes, I do.
Amazing. What's your favorite and least favorite part of your world?
Well, I mean, definitely the favorite is the actual cheerleading, that when you're on the mat, someone learns a new skill, that excitement, that growth, seeing and then of course, competition season. I have a really good eye for details and cleaning up the routine and really picking apart every single thing. And I love that when we learn our routine and then I start to get hands on and we start going full out, and then I start really tweaking it and fine tuning it and seeing what kind of beautiful routine we end up with. So I love hands-on cheerleading because, like you said, there's so much that's not really that fun. The administrative part, the checking grades, the discipline, going to study
drama,
hall, all those things. They're not really that fun, but they're necessary and they're just part of the job.
One of the things I think is similar in our worlds is like we get a lot of rough talent. Like we get a lot of not professionally trained people. You know, when I think about succeeding as an athlete in your program, you've got to, you obviously need the raw talent. You need the ability to cheer. Your body's got to do what your body needs to do, but there's also an emotional piece of that. And I think when you go into the workforce, it's kind of the same thing where people can go play for a cheerleading coach who sometimes wins, but they're really just having a great time at college. Or you can go play for you or compete for you and you're going to get your ass kicked, but you're going to be in it to win it. What is it about the kids that come to you, in your opinion?
Well, like I said, they have that deep down competitive drive. Their work ethic is untouchable. You know, I mean, they may not have ever worked that hard in their life, but they are capable of it and they desire it. And, you know, I've had some of the very best athletes that I've ever had before come through. And when we come in the summer, we come the very first time that we meet, we do this very intense training for like 6 days to get ready for camp, because, and it's intense because a couple of reasons. Number one, it's the first time that we've ever come together. So some of these kids have never been trained at Navarro and they're a little bit shocked at how hard it is.
Yeah, sure.
And then number two, we're actually getting ready for camp where we're going to be performing in front of people. So because of my perfectionism and
you're like, you're not gonna make me look bad.
Exactly. And so I'm like, you know, if I have to stay up all night, we're not leaving until we look good. And you know, it doesn't have to be the hardest routine, but it needs to look like a Navarro team. I've seen some of the very best athletes come and say, I just didn't know if I was going to make it through that week, but I did. And then the growth that they have, like as they come back as returners, they already know, like I honestly have them so well trained with the structure of how we run our practices. They know exactly what we're going to be doing day in and day out, that I could walk out of the gym.
They do it for you.
And the returners are like, no, let's go. This is what we're doing. And it's just the culture that we have, that everybody is ready to move to that next level and they know what it takes. And of course there's days where it's, you know, it's raining outside, it's cold, and we're like, oh yeah. And so we have to find our own motivation. It's not, you don't come in on that high, like ready to learn, you dig down deep. But that's important too, because when you're competing, what if you don't have that energy coming at you? You have to create your own. So, but this is competitive. And I think most of them know coming in, if I go here, it's because I'm ready to grind and push and get to that next level.
Talk a little bit about your journey, which I really admire. It's interesting. You know, you have a business degree. The way I understand it, you're headed to Wall Street. You're like, I'm going to go be, a business person in New York City. You end up, you apply for a cheerleading coach job. 28 years later, you're still there. You've become a celebrity in your own right. Your athletes have become celebrities. You're on Dancing with the Stars. Like, how do you manage the attention and interest and celebrity around you? Like, how do you balance that with your day job?
When I was approached by the producers of Cheer many years ago, back in 2017, none of us, not even, I don't think the creator of the show, the producers of the show, Netflix, nobody, I don't think thought that this show would be that big. Cheerleading has such a terrible stereotype because of the movies and stuff that I thought for sure that no one would watch it except people in our industry. And I was just like you mentioned earlier, I just really wanted to put some respect on what we did, show people that these are true athletes. And we come in here and we grind and we work and we bust our butts every single day to put out the very best product that we can. And so there was never a thought that life would change like it has. It was strictly business. And then the show came out in 2020 and we went from 0 to 100 and we were completely unprepared for that. I started seeing some media that was saying, oh, they're going to be distracted. They're going on Ellen. They're going to New York City. They're doing all this press. And of course, nothing motivates me more than for someone that's for someone to discount me. So, I was determined if we had to practice 3 times as hard as we normally do, we were going to do it. So that I think motivated us to stay focused, but also just the fact that, like I said, we're all competitive. And at the end of the day, take away everything else. We want to win a national championship. That is the most important thing. I mean, we're still at the same place we've been for years, doing the same thing that we always do. It feels very normal, very easy to, life is different, yet it's not.
Yeah, I get that 100%. Talk a little bit about your book. Like I found it really motivating. I love your leave it all on the mat mentality. And I think that I also really admire the way you've taken a lot of athletes from a lot of different backgrounds with a lot of different, levels of potential as well as challenges. And you've formed them into this, a juggernaut. You've built a juggernaut program. And I think there's a lot to be learned from that, whether you're into cheerleading or not. But talk a little bit about the book. What inspired you to write it? What do you hope people get out of it?
Well, I think with coaching, probably any coach can relate to this. You have so many experiences and stories through and things that you learn too, because not only do I feel like I've taught these athletes a ton, I feel like they have molded me into who I am today. And so, I used to joke about, oh, I need to write a book. I'm going to put that story away. I'm not, I need to remember what happened.
Yeah, sure.
And so it was kind of always just a thought. And then after the show came out, the response was so crazy. I had so many people reaching out to me, suddenly wanting the advice, whether it was from parenting to relationships to coaching to business. And so I thought, well, this is a perfect time to actually write this book that I've kind of joked about. And then of course we went into a pandemic, so I had a lot more time on my hands.
Yeah, sure. That's incredible. Okay, so Monica, we'll let you go, but before we do, just 5 quick questions for you, okay?
Okay.
So the first is, what's the first 30 minutes of your morning look like? Like, what's the first thing you do when you wake up?
The first thing I do is shower, and I like to take my time. I listen to podcasts, or usually podcasts. I really like, that's pretty much the only time that I have to myself.
Yep.
So I shower, I just really am slow at getting ready because it's the only time I have, and I listen to podcasts in the morning, and then then I'm ready to start the day, ready to go.
That's awesome. What's something you do without fail every day?
I drink a concoction of all sorts of things, BCAAs, of different vitamins, and
like your own energy drink.
Yes, I can create my own energy drink. It has spark in it, which has caffeine and stuff, so never fails. I drink that, and I take like a double. My cheerleaders laugh at me because I'll come into practice and I'm like, all right, let's go, and I'm all crazy, and they're like, did you double up your spark? And I'm like, every day.
You should make that and sell it, which I'm sure you're probably about to do. Okay, what's the biggest mistake you feel like you've made in coaching?
Oh my gosh, that's a big question. I've made many, and that's why I think that we're successful, because the only way that you get better is to fail, and you learn from those lessons. And I'm very hard on myself. So at the end of every year, I'm like, did I do enough? Did I make the right decisions? So I don't know that there's one. I'm going to say of 28 years, I'm the person I am because of the mistakes and failures that I've had.
I love that. I feel the same way about life. What gives you hope right now?
I'm in a really good place this year. If you watched Cheer season 2, you could see it was a really tough time.
Yeah.
And, I made it through the valley. There's peaks and valleys in your life, and I made it through the valley, and I'm at a peak right now. I'm very in a great mental place. The team is amazing. We're getting out of a pandemic. I think there's a lot of hope for what's to come.
It's incredible. And then the last question, Monica, is if you were not a cheerleading coach, what would you be doing right now?
I don't know. I think I would. When I was 22, I would have said I would be the CEO of a some big company on Wall Street. That's always where I thought I would be. I knew that I was going to be running some business someday, and I am. I'm running a team. So
yeah, you are your business. Tell people where they can find you, where they can follow you, that, give us how we get more Monica.
I think all of my socials are just Monica Aldama, on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Working on the TikTok,
Yep. It's a little bit of a struggle when you're
a little,
over 40.
I mean, it's a little slow to it, but
Yep. And then you can find your book wherever books are sold. So
yes, anywhere books are sold.
What do we got, Brent?
Okay. The first one is why LL Bean is going dark on social media this month. So for mental health awareness, LL Bean is halting all social media for the whole month.
Biggest LL Bean fan ever.
Right.
I wear LL Bean every day. Only carry. I'm like, everyone's like, I'm Dior. I'm like, I'm an LL Bean tote bag. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm an LL Bean tote bag. I'm as loyal to LL Bean as it gets. Duck boots, I could wear them 365 days a year. I think it hurts their business though. Like
Right.
just seeing the recency and frequency, which is, I think it's a great message to go outside. I think LL Bean could always have messages to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's like us with responsible gambling. You know what I mean? Like we should just say responsible gambling, even when we're talking about gambling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey, enjoy our products, go outside and use them. But I would imagine it hurts their business.
Right. It's like 30 days you're losing out on any social
Any
advertising.
promotion.
Okay. This is from Rico Bosco. ABC bumped the NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championship for hockey, then got burned when the gymnasts drew more eyes.
I think this is super interesting. So what happened is it ESPN who did it?
ABC.
Okay, so ABC decided it wanted to, and maybe it was contractually obliged, let's be honest, but ABC decided to run
Right.
an NHL game, I don't know which game it was, versus running college women's gymnastics.
Mm-hmm.
Sneaky fact, like softball and gymnastics are highly rated shows. Like people like to watch gymnastics, and oddly, people like to watch softball.
That's odd. Gymnastics I kind of get.
Gymnastics I get. I love gymnastics. Softball.
No.
I
And I
mean,
played it, and no.
oh, softball's the worst.
Yeah.
I sucked at softball.
I wasn't good
Oh my
either.
God. My dad was the coach when I was in elementary school. I sucked. Anyway. Look, I think it's amazing when women rate on television, when women's sports rate on television. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening. Watch us on YouTube. Subscribe. We've got Mother's Day merch out there, so it's getting a little bit late. Mother's Day is Sunday. So if you haven't already, do something nice. Call your mom on Sunday. Listen to 'Cause I Said So. That's our mother-daughter podcast with Alex Bennett and her mom, Content Kim. And then if you feel like it, you can buy our Work Like a Mom sweatshirt, and that will not make it on time, but your mother will probably enjoy a gift from you anyways. You can follow me at Erika on Instagram. You can follow Token CEO everywhere. You can check out our job board, which is worklikeagirl.com. You can be part of our Facebook group, which is under Token CEO. Send us your feedback on the episode. Send us your Q&A questions, and we'll see you back here next week.